our presenter today is our the Buckeye head coach, Alan Metzel. And Alan was just telling the table there that he's been here for 22 years. Didn't realize it'd been that long.
Yes, sir.
Forrest as the last head coach. But I've known Alan well since he's been here, and consider him a good friend. And he's just a great influence with our young men. Every year he comes back and talks about what our athletic departments, girls and boys, have been able to accomplish over the year. And our athletic department stands out just like any other department that Gilmer High School and Gilmer ISD has. And so without any further ado, I'll have Alan Metzel come up.
Good afternoon, and sure is good to see you guys. I have to say, it's been a little while since I've sung I've Been Working on the Railroad. And as Brandon brought out, that was very appropriate, seeing as how we had to take multiple detours to get here today with the railroad being worked on. Great to be here with you guys. It's always fun to come and get to see you and share with you about our team, about our season, our program, etc. You know, for us, we take very seriously the job of creating a program, more than just winning and losing. Now, obviously, that's very, very important. We get that. I think that winning and being successful, it validates what we're trying to teach to these kids and so forth. And the thing that we're trying to instill in all of them as they grow up and come up through the program is if you work on the character things, if you work on the little details, if you learn about how to interact with other people, the very things that you guys do as Rotarians, then it's amazing how things go well. It's amazing how you put yourself in the position to be successful. And that doesn't mean that we're going to win every game. We want to try and narrow that margin down where we're taking out all the reasons that we might lose. That's the goal within each sport. But from the program standpoint, we're trying to train these young men and women on the things that matter to you. Are they showing up every day? Are they on time? Are they committed to the group and not just to self? You know, and a lot of that is counterculture right now. And so, you know, we're fighting upstream. We're trying to instill at the youngest age possible. We've got coaches all the way down into the elementary, obviously the intermediate, the junior high, and then the high school, where we're working to create relationships, to build trust, to instill these values and stair-step it as they grow up. And so by the time they get into our high school girls or guys program, they've heard these things over and over and over and over. And hopefully they're growing up thinking, I want to be a Lady Buckeye or a Buckeye. I want to be the one out there on the court, on the field, whatever the case may be, and be a part of something that's special. And this community makes it so awesome because it's all about Buckeyes and us being a family and the Buckeye Army and so forth. So it really perpetuates an excitement each year. And so, you know, this past year we had the opportunity to win the boys state championship in track and got to celebrate that and beat the Buckeyes. It crosses over sports. And so that's something that I think is important, that all the kids, regardless of where they are in the spectrum of talent, if they learn that they're coming and they're willing to be a part and to work hard, whatever their niche is, we're going to try and make that better and foster that and take them to the next level. So with that, we are at football season, and so kind of giving you guys a little bit of an update on where we are and what's going on. Our schedule, if you guys, we have some Buckeye cards. I actually brought some. I think Karen, where are you, Karen?
Right here.
There you go. I think is selling some for her son, so you can buy from her before you buy from me. I just brought them to make sure they were available.
Go ahead. He told me he sold them.
Oh, okay, good deal. So I have some if you'd like some. But they've got our schedule printed on here, and then, you know, we've got our sponsors on the back. But the one change in our schedule is we were able to fill the week 5, where we had 2 open weeks last week. And I'll just be honest, that was tough being off 2 weeks last year, you know, and you fight to, okay, we're going to make this a positive, and it was, and the kids handled it great. But it's hard being off that long. You know, I think it's hard for the town. Everybody's like, okay, 1 week's fine, but this next week, what are we doing? And we felt the same way. So very grateful we were able to get a game with Prosper's Walnut Grove this year. I don't know a whole lot about them. I know they're from Prosper. I know they're a new school, and we'll get some film from them here in a few weeks, but they just keep growing up there, and so they've got a compilation of some of the other schools, people moving and creating this team, which I'm sure is challenging on their part, but it's going to be, they're a big school. They'll probably be kind of like at a 5A level as far as numbers. But anyway, that'll be week 5, and I just wanted to bring that up. They are coming here. That was part of the agreement, was that if we added them to the schedule, they would come here. So it ought to be good getting to introduce people from Prosper to East Texas and let them come and be in our businesses and come eat at our restaurants and so forth on that Friday night. Moving from there, I'll go into our motto for this year. Our motto is very important to us. That was something Jeff really started in 2000, and coming back in with the pride, the positive respect and intensity and then discipline and every day or every play. And so that was something that really got going with him, and each year saying, okay, so what is this team about? What is it that we're trying to accomplish? And you want to have an identity. Some years when we're creating this motto, it's harder than others we're trying to include these kids. We're trying to get them to choose their motto, and they chose this year's. They did. But there's a learning curve on that. Because a lot of them, they pick out their favorite song they've got on their playlist or whatever, which is cool and it's fun, and it might represent them. It might even represent their position group. It might represent the team, but is our town going to be able to connect to it? So we're trying to teach them, hey, what's something our town can buy into that they feel good about? And so I came across a story a few years ago on this term, this motto that we've come up with, and that is Kaizen. And it was in a book by Mark Batterson called Win the Day, and I really recommend the book. It's a motivational book, excellent, inspirational book, and business and so forth. So it crosses all genres and so forth. But anyway, take a look at it if you get a chance. But in the book, he talks about Kaizen. And this term came in his story, came from a guy named Sakichi. I had to write it down to make sure I said it right. A guy named Sakichi. I'm not going to tell you his last name yet, but Sakichi was from Japan, and he was the son of a carpenter. And as he's growing up, he was one of those overachieving guys. He's post World War II. Things are bad over there. Obviously, their economy had been destroyed and so forth. He's an entrepreneur. He's trying to get his business going. He's attempting to create automobiles and so forth. He brought a group over to study some of our automobile industries and so forth. But they went back and they came together with this idea of Kaizen. And Kaizen, it starts with a strong mindset of being humble, of being hungry to be great, to create a mindset of continuous improvement. Continuous improvement. Every day. Every day. I think every single one of you, as you go back to your businesses or your role in the community, if you can convince the people in your sphere to be great, to be better today than they were yesterday, well, as we move through the course of this year, great things happen. And great things happen within your business, within a community, etc. Those are definitely our goals for our team. Now, this guy named Sakichi, his last name was Toyota. And he ended up creating a pretty good line of vehicles, obviously. Made a lot of money through the years. But that's where that started. It started in a place of vulnerability. It started in a place with a mindset, with a vision of wanting to create something. And it started with having a desire to be great today in the little things. And so for us, we're teaching running on and off the field. We're teaching making sure that if you're the backside tight end and we're throwing a screen over there, that you're not just halfway going through your play. You better bust your tail and cut off the backside safety. If you're the corner on the backside and somebody's running up the sideline, you better set a great angle and hustle your tail over there to catch them in case the guy were to break it for the long run, and you got to get him down and make him play another play. The little things, locking your lock in the locker room, making sure that you put your stuff in your locker instead of leaving it on the floor, those kind of things that parents deal with too. But all those things, we're trying to teach, okay? I can just tell you, we're not there yet. We're a work in progress. But we want to be, each day, at the end of the day, when we gather up, we say, did we live up to our standard? And I'll be honest, there's some days at the end of it, we go, man, we didn't do it today. But we didn't get better today like we should have. There may have been little places we did, but we didn't reach our goal today. And that's unacceptable. And tomorrow, we better get that changed. And what's amazing is they rally. They do. They want to be great. They want to have structure. They want to be held accountable. And they don't always like the way we hold them accountable, but they want to be held accountable. That's kind of part of the process, I think. So anyway, I wanted to explain to you what Kaizen is, and they came up with that. Each year I give them like some options and some thoughts and so forth, and that was one I hadn't even thrown out there this year. I had done that a couple of years ago, but one of the guys who's a captain this year had remembered seeing that one, and he liked it, and he thought it looked cool, and the way it's written and what it stood for. And so as they talked about it, they thought that was something that our community could buy into. And I think that's awesome. And so it's going to hold us accountable. So, here we are. You get to week 7. I'm just telling you, you get to week 7, people get tired. It's hard to see the finish. And you got to remind yourself, okay, are we getting better today? You get to week, I'll tell you another week, if you make it that far, it's week 12 and 13. Because it's a long way from a state championship. I mean, you're talking about over a month still of days of practice. It's usually cold and wet and all those kind of things. And you're not close enough where you can feel going to Jerry's World just yet. And, a lot of other people, they're going inside and they're not having to be out here in this bad weather. These mottos give you something to hang on to and something to focus, to rally around. So wanted to kind of give you an idea of what that was. Talking about our strengths this year, because usually people say, okay, what do you have this year that you feel good about? Well, for one, we return our quarterback, Caden Tennyson, which is, it's always good to have that guy, that quarterback come back, because there's so much pressure, especially in the offense we run, on that individual. And it was tough on him last year to just jump in as a sophomore and have to carry a lot of that pressure. Because everybody in the town, they're looking at him like he better get it all right, because whether they have a great week or not, it's on him, And that's hard to shoulder. That's hard to shoulder, and we try and spread that out as much as we can. But having him back, he's just at a whole different level this year from a confidence standpoint, understanding what's going on. Plenty of room to grow, which is awesome, but that speaks to his talent, and his ceiling physically. So we're excited about that. We have a lot of good team speed, and that is good. I've coached teams that were not real fast, and I've coached teams that are fast, and I'm just telling you, the ones that are fast usually do better. I'm just saying, because they make your play calls way better. You can make a call that's just an average call, but the other team can't catch that guy. Or you make a mistake, and you're able to run somebody down and make them make another play. So our team speed is something that we feel very good about. Got a handful of skill positions that are returning. Guys like Will Henderson, Tarek Tate, Jeremiah Noble, Jamar Bird. I can go through and just list a handful of guys. The place that we're wanting to take the next step is our interior area, and I think I probably spoke about that last year. It's been a goal for us over the past several years, and we've been nurturing this group. We've been trying to build them up. People say, well, okay, you're trying to grow your line. Well, obviously I can't affect genetics. I can't do that. But what you can do is when you have a kid who's in the 5th and 6th grade who's a better kid, you can cultivate that relationship where they want to be a part and they understand their role. It's easy for a little skinny guy, to go run around and do all the boot camp and all that. It's hard when you're bigger to do those forward rolls and run down and do the belly flops and jumping up, and they're going, I'm not doing this, And so you've got to work, you've got to be intentional in keeping some of these bigger guys in, where they don't just go, yeah, I'm just going to go home and play video games, And I believe that's been happening. We actually are going to be as big on the front line as we've been in years. You know, our left tackle now is 6'2", 289. Our left guard is about 6 foot, 5'11", 310. We're not as big at center right now, which is okay. He's a scrapper. And then right guard, that's Lucas Cano. He's 6'3", 305. And then you've got a young man named Felipe Rocha, who's 6'3", 285. So we've got some size this year. And, you know, a few years ago, we played Carthage in Dallas, and our two tackles, who did Herculean efforts, were at 171 and about 165. And that's tough against those 300-pound guys. So we've worked to try and improve this area, and now we've got to play. You know, you can get there, you still got to play. So we're working on that. We'll get a good test this week, I'll say that, against Pine Tree. Pine Tree has 3 defensive linemen when you come watch, if you get a chance to. They're huge. I mean, one guy's going to Alabama, and I think their nose guard's 6'3", 260, 270. The other defensive tackle is around that size too. So those 3 will give us a good challenge this week. It'll be good for us. And before I move on past the scrimmages, let me say this. When we're talking about scrimmages, I know as a fan you're sitting up there and you're going at the end of it, so did we win? You know, what just happened and all that, you know? Know this, that at this point in time where we are in the program, we're obviously we want to win anything. If we're playing, you know, go fish, we want to win. But it's not about getting the ball. We can get the ball to Tarek a bunch of times or to Will a bunch of times. A scrimmage is to see people play. And so we're playing tons of kids, and we're evaluating, and we're watching. And so sometimes, you know, the other team may get ahead. They may, whatever. Don't worry about that. You know, tell the person beside you in the stands, hey, it's okay. Now, against Chapel Hill, that, you know, it's fair game then. But in the scrimmages, understand, we're talking development. We're looking at people, we're evaluating people who's fighting for a starting position, who's going to give us depth, who needs to be on the JV or the varsity. There's a lot of things that are going into that we're trying to do. And so you just kind of have to go and enjoy seeing the guys play football and notice the things, you know, that are fun. And the rest of it, you just have to go, well, what'd you think? You know, because we're evaluating it different. So just wanted to make sure that we communicated that. No, we do no game planning. Say none, we make out the scripts, but it's not like we're trying to game plan against the other team's scheme. That's not the goal. Because more than we're concerned about not showing things that we'll do against Chapel Hill. You know, we've got to be smart in what we don't want to show our hand, so to speak. So just giving you some of those tidbits. And then I think I already mentioned the Buckeye cards. Feel free. They're still $10. We've kept the price the same all these years, but it gives our kids a chance to be able to do some things as a group, being able to, times when we have long bus trips, we can get the trailways or whatever. We use that money to help pay the difference between school buses and that sort of thing. So it gives us a chance to do a handful of things for the kids throughout the year. All right. With that, I'll stop and ask you if you have any questions. Yes, Mr. Pete.
I've got a grandson at Chapel Hill. I've been riding pretty good and telling him to get his team ready to be 0-1 after the first.
There you go. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. The rest of the year, we'll cheer for them the whole way through. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Alan, are you still going to have your Wednesday?
Yes. The coaches' lunch with Coach. Yes, sir. I believe that'll be the 23rd, the Wednesday prior to the Chapel Hill game will be our first one.
Can you speak to the number of kids that we have in our?
Oh my gosh!
It seems like when I drive by,
they're
in the mornings,
they're
in the afternoons.
I would say our average over the past probably 10 years, if you looked at 10th through 12th grade, you had about 72, 70, 72. Right now we're at like 96, 10th through 12th. Our freshman group is over 40. Our junior high, it used to be we were in the 40s, 30s, somewhere in there, each group, 7th grade, 8th grade. We have 150 boys in junior high boys athletics, 150. So it just is exploding, and that's a testament to the town, that's a testament to the school, that's a testament to the people want to come and be a part of what's going on here, and that's exciting. It is work now. We got kids running all over the place, but it's good stuff, and we're excited that they're a part of the program. Yeah. Anyone else have a question?
What kind of rating is Gilmer giving this year?
They Texas football, I think, picked us. Football magazine picked us 5th going into the state. They've got Carthage at 1, I think, and Pleasant Grove at 3. And we gotta show them that they got that order out. But yes, that's kind of where it's ranked right now. I'll be honest, I'd rather be 5 than 1 right now. To be, as a coach, you hate it when they stick you up there and you're telling your guys, hey, we're not that good. For us, you go into this with a little chip on your shoulder and go, oh, okay, I think we're better. So that's where we stand going into the year, for what that's worth. Anyone else?
This is a dumb question. How come they don't wear numbers in the scrimmage? Because I spend the whole time trying to figure out where Luke is or what happened or who this is.
You just answered the question. Think of the opponents when they're scouting us and they're trying to write down their notes and they're going, now who was that guy? Look at his left sock, or, it makes it way harder on them. Okay. So you put numbers on everybody, they go, oh, well, that guy, he does this and that, he's going to be here. So in the regular season, it is what it is, but in scrimmages, it, makes them do a little extra work.
I have no idea where he was.
There you go. That's it. Just kind of blend in there.
Yeah, like
the minions.
Yeah, y'all all have the same haircut.
There you go. That's right. Phil?
Could you explain a little bit about the Adoptive Buckeye program?
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. The Adoptive Buckeye, we started that all the way back in '01, I believe. It came from a scenario where, people come down out of the stands after the game, and so many of our guys were standing there with no one to come talk to them. And when you're there and you're with your family and you got your arm around your grandson or your nephew or whoever, your child, and you're taking pictures with them, and then you got these kids that they don't have somebody there, and that's tough. That all that does is heighten the ache that you have. And so the Adoptive Buckeye is we're making sure every kid on that field has someone that's there to see them. And it's so huge. There's so many times. I did a wedding of Blake Oliveris this past year, and his Adoptive Buckeye, which is Buckeye Bob, there he is, at the wedding. Those things are lifelong. I did a few years ago, I did Jack Spencer's funeral, and there's DeMarco Boyd and Randall and Anjanae Kennedy at the funeral, because Jack and DeMarco, they just were so close. Jack walked him across the field, during the parent night thing. It's a unique opportunity to connect with these kiddos in a way that's life-changing. It is life-changing. And so it's a small amount of investment that reaps a huge reward. And I highly recommend, if you haven't done it, I think you would really love doing it. Lynn Gray, my secretary, if you call her, she can set you up and tell you kind of what the routine is and so forth. The main thing is just being there and letting them have somebody that comes down and says, hey, I was watching you tonight. I saw that play when you made that tackle or that block or whatever the case may be, where they know they're special. So thank you, Phil. That's a big one. That's a big one. I had another question that was over here. Yes,
I was just interested. When I went through high school, back in the early 70s, a big guy back then was like 195,
right.
200 pounds.
Right.
Where do you see this going in another 20 years?
If you look at the NFL guys, they're like 6'7", 360, or some of those linemen are. I really don't know. I wish we had more of those in Gilmer. I'll just say that. But it's hard to even speak to that. I don't know. I obviously did not get that genetic, and so I don't know. I would have liked it. I ask OJ all the time, can I just have a little bit of your shin? I'm about 6'1". But the part of it obviously is genetic, and then you've got the year-round training that's going on where guys are getting to, work on their nutrition, their strategic workout plans, et cetera, which put them in a position to be stronger and faster and so forth. I don't know where it'll end. I couldn't tell you, but as long as we have a lot of them, I'm okay with it. Anyone else? Well, guys, thank you. I always love getting to come and spend some time with you, and very grateful for you and the way you guys are committed to this town and the way you just invest and serve. So thank you so much.
I would appreciate you being here and watching those.